Hello, it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video I'm going to give you 3 simple drills in progression that are going to help you get rid of your waiter's tray serve, one of the most frustrating and common mistakes on the serve, and it absolutely kills your ability to play your best tennis and hit your biggest serves. So the first idea is, instead of when your racket comes up having the racket above your hand, when you bring your racket up, have the hand above the racket. You'll almost feel like a buckling of the wrist, like the racket weighs so much, and obviously it doesn't, but it's like the racket weighs so much that you couldn't even get the racket to be above your hand if you wanted to. You're gonna lead up with the back of the wrist. From the side, it looks like this. You can see there's this little buckling of the wrist. Players who go into the waiter's tray, where as soon as they toss the ball up, their racket, faces the sky, their strings face the sky, and they go like this. That happens because as they bring their racket up, their racket goes above the hand and then goes behind the hand. So let's do the reverse. Let's get completely on the other end of the spectrum. So when you bring your racket up, keep the racket below your hand. That keeps your palm down, doesn't allow you to go palm up, keeps your palm down, and will allow you to do the next 2 drills in progression. Just that concept, we kind of call it the goose or the dinosaur at the club I used to coach at. It's you want to lift the racket up and curl the wrist over. And when the wrist is curled over, it's an amazing improvement in the amount of racket speed and spin you can put on the serve. The second drill, again, it requires the first drill in order to do. But when you get into this position, you can then put a ball in the throat of the racket. So the next concept, with this wrist curled over, tip of the racket slightly below the hand, is to draw 360 degrees with the ball staying in the throat of the racket. So you want to learn to move the racket 360 degrees. And you can see the way I'm doing that is by bringing my elbow forward. So you can see my right elbow is behind me, that elbow the enemy, as Jeff Salzenstein calls it. And then you want to bring the elbow forward and up. And when you do that, keep the ball in the throat of the racket. Now, like for instance, Federer, he would not keep the ball in the throat of his racket. But he doesn't go in a palm up serve. He brings the racket in over the head, knocking off the party hat. It's just at this point his strings face slightly up. But then when he comes around, his strings face down again prior to contact. So not all pros would pass this test of, does the ball stay in the throat of the racket? But it's completely on the other end of the spectrum from the palm up. So if you're typically going palm up, let's try to do the exact opposite. Let's try to keep your strings pointing down the whole way. And the ball in the throat of the racket drill, rather than going palm up and letting it fall out, is a great way to do that. Third idea, and this is all about when you're hitting the serve, what type of serve you're hitting. Let me ask you a question. What spin is on a flat serve? Did you say no spin? Look at Pete Sampras. Pete Sampras had an incredible amount of spin on his first serve. We want rotation on the ball. I don't want you to think that when you hit the ball a flat serve, that it means that the flat serve has no spin. Flat is the adjective used to describe the way it travels, not necessarily that it's spinning or not spinning. So a flat serve has spin, no different than a slice serve or a topspin serve. All serves have spin. It's just the rate of spin that really makes the difference. So what we're trying to do is put side spin even on our flat serve. So the first thing I would ask you to do is, when you're hitting a palm up serve, and that's what you're used to, get rid of thinking really fast serves and get rid of thinking, I'm going to hit flat serves. That's not. I want you to start hitting side spin serves. And that means you're going to be leading with the edge of the racket as you hit the ball rather than leading with the strings. Let me show you here on the Topspin Pro. Amazing device here. And you can take the arm off and just work on this. See that ball spinning? It's almost like a basketball player spinning a basketball on the finger. So when you hit a tennis ball, don't think of hitting the ball, think of spinning the ball. And since I'm right-handed, I'm actually going to hit the back of the ball like I normally do, but I'm going to go from left to right. And that means I'm going to swing off to the right of my target. So I'm not going to swing the direction I want the ball to go. I actually am going to swing off to the right. And that produces side spin, and the ball curves into the court. So watch, I'm not going to swing. Well, let's watch this. I actually am going to swing. I'm going to swing straight toward the box, leading with the edge to spin it. Watch. Well, then the ball goes over there. And if you've ever tried side spin, you know that the ball goes over there if you swing towards your target. So what you have to do is swing off to the right if you're right-handed. That's when you'll see the ball go where you want it to go. So swing to the right of your target, and then you can see the ball curve. So we want to put those 3 drills together. The first idea is as you lift your racket up, lead with the back of your wrist toward the sky. The next idea is move the racket in a circle, keeping the ball in the throat of the racket. And last, lead with the edge of the racket, but spin the ball swinging from left to right as you hit if you're right-handed. As a lefty, you'll swing right to left, and you'll get that ball to go into the box. All right, let me hit some serves, and you'll see all 3 ideas. So work on those 3 drills in progression, and there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2MinuteTennis.net. You got this!